Alright, Schlockmeisters fans, we're going to watch a horror movie here called The Oracle. Let's check it out. Old woman using a Ouija board type thing. Morte. That means dead, you know. Fast forward a few weeks later, apparently that woman is dead now, and this woman's moving in.
Mr. Papa, you scared me to death.
It's only me, Mrs. Jorgen.
I think I'm lost. I was looking for the laundry room.
She found a trunk in the basement. In that trunk, she finds that Ouija board thing.
With ghosts. And one day, she just disappeared.
Cut away to a guy who's hired a prostitute. He does not have good intentions with her, though. Later on, we see the killer, who we find out is a woman, actually, popping balloons like an asshole.
It's used for communicating with the other side, the spirit world.
Back to Jennifer and her friends.
And they call it a planchette.
Yeah, right. The planchette.
And we get a demonstration. It's working. I think it says help. Jennifer and her husband aren't seeing eye to eye right now.
I'm me. And I got the message.
Some message. Help me. Oh, just think about it, Jan. It's a little cry for attention. Help me.
Now the planchette seems to be operating on its own. That's not right. So she decides she's going to throw the thing away. Apparently that's a garbage can. But it doesn't like that. Next thing you know, it causes a windstorm in the apartment.
What the hell are you doing in there? Jenny, open the door.
Of course, once her husband managed to force himself in there, nothing.
What the hell is all this? Jenny, what is this?
I didn't do it! Before did it.
So he decides that he's going to get rid of it.
Are you going to throw it away now?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was just about...
I'll take it for you. No problem.
Oh, well, thanks. It's all yours.
Tell me.
He wants to put a lot of numbers.
What the number will be tomorrow, huh? Come on. Tell me. Just a little number you make me happy, huh?
It doesn't go well. See, he sees those things, but nobody else can. So when he tries to stab whatever creature he's seeing, of course... Ow. And Jennifer's seeing things too. She certainly squeals a lot in this movie. And then she's getting visions of the handyman. However, it's all a dream.
Who? William Graham.
Cindy's been keeping me informed about the mystic message that Jennifer got from that thing.
You mean that spirit garbage again? I don't believe this.
Apparently a guy named William Graham committed suicide recently. Who was William Graham? Well, he was some big business owner. And that woman in the back is the one who killed the prostitute in the beginning. It turns out Mr. Graham wasn't a suicide victim. He was made to look like a suicide.
Go on.
Mrs. Graham. Jennifer's been seeing visions of her husband.
I thought 2 men murdered your husband. What? What are you saying? He committed suicide. No, Mrs. Graham. There were 2 men, and I saw them put your husband in a car. And
So she takes her to the factory where it happened. She sees all those images again.
2 men carried him here. Pushed him in the car.
Time to hire Farkas again.
Aren't you going to count it?
No,
I have another job for you.
Dorothy.
Don't get smart. Dorothy had a visitor.
So Farkas has been contracted to kill Jennifer. Turns out Mrs. Graham is the one who was behind her husband's murder. And she's going to try to throw her off the balcony of this high-rise. While a drunk guy watches. She's not going to be successful. Drunk guy to the rescue.
I need a drink.
So Farkas has to run.
Hey, you can't get up.
But Farkas isn't done. She attacks her in the kitchen as well. That is, of course, until Jennifer's able to grab the coffee pot. Wouldn't you know, the planchette starts talking again in its own special way. Farkas, of course, is not done trying to kill Jenny. Now she's going after her on the streets of New York. She's squealing again. She ends up running into a museum. And they think she's hysterical. So they take her to the funny farm. Back at home, he discovers the planchette box again.
No.
So he takes it and throws it in the incinerator, and as he does so, some claws reach out and grab him. And they're going to rip his head right off. Like I said, they took her to the mental institution, and this guy, a bad guy, is going to come in and try to inject her with something, presumably to kill her. He's not a doctor. And then he gets distracted by this before he can do it. I believe that's the other guy who killed Mr. Graham, but he's dead now. So Jennifer flees the hospital and runs right into the arms of Mrs. Graham, who's waiting outside for her. Unbeknownst to her, of course, Miss Graham's a bad guy. And when Farkas shows up, she realizes that, yeah, Miss Graham's a bad guy too. But she's able to escape. Well, Farkas has an axe. It looks like Jennifer is toast now. Here it comes. Oh, she missed. And you're not going to believe this. Yes, that's the ghost of Mr. Graham.
Killed you once.
not sure what she chopped into there, but whatever it is, it's melting her face. And Jennifer's screeching again. Mrs. Graham senses trouble and tries to take off, but some ghost hands are locking her in her car, and some carbon monoxide's going in there. Just like what happened to her husband. And then, although no one else can see him but her, hubby hops in the car too.
You are not here, you miserable ghost! We killed you!
I think he's in there. So she dies, and our last scene in the movie is Jennifer playing with the planchette again. Alright, let's talk about this movie, The Oracle, starring a woman named Caroline Capers Powers. This, incidentally, was the only movie she did. The woman who played Mrs. Graham, the evil woman who had her husband killed, I believe that was the only movie she did, too. So there's a lot of people here who just did nothing else. Roberta Findlay was the director of this movie. She and her husband were some... they did a lot of, like, B-rate movies in the 70s and such. He died, I think, in a helicopter accident. Did a lot of, like, sleazy-type stuff, including The Oracle. Although, The Oracle, there actually was no nudity in this. Or if there was, it was very, very brief. There may have been a quick nipple if you look closely. I didn't look all that closely, but whatever, right? So anyway, we have a movie, this... They couldn't get the rights from, I don't know, Parker Brothers or whoever puts out the Ouija boards for the word Ouija, so they end up calling it a planchette and changing it from like this little disc you move on, this triangular disc, to a hand-like looking thing with like a quill pen or something like that. Just a really strange thing. So and there's a lot of gore in this movie too. The movie. Whenever there's a kill scene in there, there's just a lot of gore. And we have, of course, this large woman who we think is a man at the beginning because she hires a prostitute, but it turns out the woman freaks out. The prostitute freaks out when she finds there's no wiener in his pants, and then, of course, she's dead soon after that, too. So you have the spirit of this dead guy who was killed in this factory by his... his wife was behind it, but she had a couple of thugs actually pull it out. She's like speaking through this woman, played by Caroline Powers, and she's able to see like what happens in her mind. She can see in her mind what actually happened to this guy, and she eventually is chased down by the woman herself, Mrs. Graham, because she goes to Mrs. Graham and says, "Hey, I know your husband died, but obviously she is not happy to hear that news because she was the one behind it." So she hires this, like I said, this large woman named Farkas to track her down. Farkas ends up getting her face melted near the end too. So anyway, this is a movie I saw one time. I had it on a beta tape, and I retaped it in the 90s onto a VHS tape, SP Speed, and I watched it there for the first time. And I remember liking it, and I haven't seen it since, but I'll always remember it. It was a really pretty cool movie, and I gotta say, I still enjoyed it when I watched it just now, too. The IMDb reviews are not very good. It does not have a high rating, but I think it's better than in what it shows. So, again, no nudity, lots of blood, but actually not a bad film. Came out in 1985, a cast of nobody, and... yeah, but it's available here. I believe Shriek Show put this DVD out. I don't think it's been released on Blu-ray or in any other form, but it's not a bad film. So check it out. Let me know what you think about it. Leave some comments down below. It's called The Oracle. A Ouija board. Check it out. Bye.